Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are tuned in from. Welcome to another episode of What Now? I know it looks a little bit crazy because it looks like I got the sun above me, but because it's getting darker during this conversation, I decided to already turn the light on just so, I don't have to do that during the conversation. Today, my guest will be photographer, creative director Chris Charles. And he will be talking about what motivates him and what inspires him during this pandemic, and see what the effects have been, during this pandemic on his work and personally, obviously. Hi Izzy, hi Nicole, hi Hariva, hi Sully. Okay, I know Sully and Izzy saw me last night on Sunday. And I did not have my hair done, did not have any makeup done. And I was just in somebody else's live. And I was like, okay, I need to really do something about myself during my own live, at least. So the live that I was in for my friend last night was me just looking at my most comfortable, at my most natural, glasses and all. So today I'm a little glammed up for my special guest, who is still figuring out how to get here. Oh, there he goes. So hopefully I did step my game up. I had to, girl, because you looked so fabulous earlier. So I had to match your glam. Let's see if he can get in here and see if it's quiet out there, because he had some problems. Hey,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
There's no noise.
Good, because this is very noisy. It's been for the past hour or so. They're cutting grass, cutting all the grass.
Well, that has to be done too. I don't hear it, so that's a good thing. So far, we're good. I hope the connection is. You're not in the closet, are you?
No, not yet. If I have to, I will go in the closet, though. It's all good.
Okay, that sounds really stupid. You're going to go back into the closet. No, that's funny.
I'm all about the sound and the audio. If it's not right, it ain't right,
Well, I appreciate you wanting to be my guest. And I know you I don't know if you really do lives like that, but am I the first?
This is my first live, period, in the history of Instagram Live. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So just for the people that are joining us, probably mostly through you as well, the whole gesture of me starting this series is to provide some motivational relief for creatives, since our industry is hit so hard. Everything is shut down. There are no shows. There's no entertainment. Everybody has to sit at home and was being frustrated about losing income. And so one night I woke up, I was like, okay, I have to really do something to help people, I don't know, feel more motivated and positive and don't feel alone in this situation. So talking to their peers or people that they look up to, or people that actually have a story, that might help. Even just talking with people that going through the same thing can help. So I figured, why not start this live? And it may work, it may not work, but it's actually working. So I'm very happy about that. So first of all, can you tell me a little bit about not what you did before the pandemic, but what is your usual work?
Yeah, well, primarily my discipline is photography and graphic design, and that kind of morphed into branding, and currently is kind of a holistic branding approach to visuals. So basically helping people figure out how they want to present themselves, and just using whatever tool sets or skill sets I have in my toolkit to make that happen for them. So it could be a photo shoot, it could be, helping direct a promotional video or short film, it could be, designing business cards, it could be a lot of that, but anything visual for businesses and people, that's kind of what I do.
Right. So before all of this, you were doing really well. I mainly knew you at first as a photographer. So it was good to see that you've kind of branched out and expanded your skills and your resume. Now, you and I have had a conversation prior to this talk. And what was interesting to me is most of the people are like, oh, I don't know what to do. I've lost work. whereas my stuff is booming, not necessarily financially, but I'm seeing so many great things and opportunities and networking and, you know, meeting people even through these lives that give me the opportunity to set something in stone that will last after this pandemic. And
Yeah.
so when I spoke to you, you were telling me the same thing. And it was so refreshing to me that I wasn't alone in this, so to speak. So for you doing actually well during this pandemic, that should be inspiring to others as well. So can you tell us a little bit about um, how you've experienced the 2 months or 2.5 months so far?
Yeah. You know, I say well with a little bit of caveat because sure, you know, there has been some income lost because of the lack of in-person interaction, which is mostly what I do when it comes to photography. But um, yeah, I think this time has allowed me and my business to really be open to other options in regards to utilizing my skill sets and things that I've already had on, you know, on deck and things that I already knew and kind of capitalizing on it, but also having a strong, solid network of innovators and people
Right.
who have ideas that they've been sitting on. And now that a lot of us just pretty much home, now we have time to develop them. And I'm, you know, thankful to be able to say, hey, okay, well, I don't have to see you in person, but we can help work
Right.
on the website, or we can help develop a plan for your business, or we can help send me some product and I'll go ahead and facilitate getting your product photography knocked out. So yeah, it's been an interesting and busy time for me because of that. But once again, I have to shout out, you know, my network and my circle of people who are innovators and are thinking outside the box and allowing themselves to
Right.
be open to doing business in ways that they might not normally be doing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and that's basically what everyone has to do right now. They have to find a way to still keep working
Yeah,
outside of the regular way. And for me, it's not just important to find something for now, but also find something that's lasting. Like I said earlier, like I'm doing things that I will probably do after this pandemic is, I don't know, died down as well. Because this will not be the first time we're encountering some virus of this kind.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
for the people that are in here, if you have any questions, please use the question box down below. So I will see your question and it won't scroll up, and we get to that when we can in the conversation. Um, Talking about doing business not necessarily in person, but being able to do that online. How is that different from how you usually work? Did you have to really adjust to that?
Not really, actually. I mean, like the way my brain is kind of set up, I'm kind of used to being able to have to work remotely anyway, and be able to service clients and be able to be responsive and present. You know what I mean? So having to shift almost completely online as far as interaction and just doing things has kind of been it felt like a natural progression for me. I think it
Right.
was more so people who might not have necessarily been used to certain technologies and implementing that into their situation was kind of a lot of what I had to do. Help them get over the learning curve of, okay, well, let's figure this out. Because there's a way to do it, but it might not be the way that you normally used to do it. So,
Right.
yeah.
So for you, does that mean that being able to do that right now, will that create more opportunities for you because you don't necessarily have to be in the same area as the clients?
Yeah, I think so. I think this time has been, you know, a lot of the negatives and the horrendousness of all of the lives that have been lost. I think, you know, the silver linings are the fact that us as business owners and people who do business or just want to earn a living, we know that now we kind of knew in the back of our head that these technologies existed, but we were using them for entertainment versus
Right.
actually solid business. So I think this forced a lot of us to really see, number one, we have this like a lot of free technology at that is there that we use all the time that we might take for
Yeah.
granted. And now we can see that we can actually establish connections and build relationships. And that opens the avenue up for even like your way in the Netherlands, for example. I'm in North
Yeah.
Carolina. You know what I mean? So 2 years ago, would we have been doing this? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe so, but maybe not
Well, we
utilizing this
were,
platform.
but
Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But I mean, as far as
Yeah.
like being able to help build a platform for people from all over the world to
Right.
connect I think that concept is also was taken for granted, and now we're seeing the value of it. So for
Yeah.
sure, I think a lot of people are going to just like, hey, this is how we're going to do business from now on. Because it
Yeah.
saves a lot of overhead on having to travel and how to be and being in
That's,
person.
yeah. That's definitely something that I've that I've experienced myself during these 2 months. I used to do master classes in person. People would want to do a master class in person, but they wouldn't necessarily do it online. And now I'm actually getting requests from London, Germany, because they are now ready to do that because it's the only option. But they weren't before because they were like, well, why would we hire somebody from the Netherlands, fly them over, put them up, and now they can just do it all online. Now I am a fan of doing it in person with
Yeah,
people, and
of
the
course.
interaction is so much better and quicker without the whole connection thing and people going speaking through each other. But it gives me the opportunity to still do what I do and actually do it more now because I do more online classes than I did in person. Um, and I'm happy to do it because it's very efficient. I don't have to leave the house. I can sit in my
Yeah,
pajamas.
yeah.
It's just this top
I'm wearing
that's
underwear like from the
yeah,
waist down, so
exactly.
it's
I'm
nice.
not
Not for
wearing
sure.
anything but no, I'm kidding. So also another thing, when we promoted this talk, this live talk where you're my guest, somebody from your network or who saw this promoted on your page or your Instagram feed reached out to me and asked if I also have local people as my guests. So I was like, what do you mean local? And so she didn't really see what it was about. And I had to tell her, hey, I'm in Amsterdam. And she's like, oh, I thought it was North Carolina only. And so I'm like,
Yeah,
no, just go back to all my talks on my IGTV and it's people from all over the world. So she was very excited about that. So I don't know.
yeah. It's dope. It's
Yeah, she was
dope.
going to send me a proposal for something. So
Awesome.
um,
See,
yeah.
connecting the dots already. That's amazing.
Exactly. And that was not really my goal. My goal was not to get business out of this. It was literally for the people in
Hmm.
the industry, but all the side effects are pretty great.
Yeah, yeah. There's always going to be the I guess the collateral from the vision, and it just kind of growing its own set of legs and kind of going in different directions. And that's the brilliance of stuff like this. That's why
Yeah.
I was excited when you reached out and said, "Yo, just come on." I said, "Sure, great. This is amazing."
Yeah. And you know what? I don't think anybody has said no yet. There have been people that said yes and didn't get back to me, which I just, let go because I mean, there's so many people that want to be on this little series for some reason that
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't have to beg people to get on here. Plus, people are actually offering to pay me to be on here. Now, I'm
great.
not doing that because this, me as a journalist, there's integrity involved, and there's a certain criteria that I have for people to be on here. That
Gotcha.
doesn't mean you have to be a superstar or whatever, but it just means you have to have some type of value that I want to give to the people, not
Hmm.
just promote your own stuff
Right,
if you're an
right.
artist or something.
No, I feel you.
So I know you're already a pretty healthy guy. How have you been staying physically healthy during this pandemic?
Yeah, well, the workouts have been pretty good and intense and consistent, and I'm thankful for that. Once again, being kind of limited to being home a lot, was like, hey, I got all this time. Why would I
Right.
not be taking advantage of this time to build a workout regimen? And I'm not getting any younger, so I have to be very mindful of what I eat, and how I treat my body. So this has been the greatest time for me, trying to get this summer body right and be all swole up on the beach when the beaches really officially open up.
Right.
They're kind of opening now, but I'm not quite ready to
Yeah,
be out
don't
there
don't
with
go
people.
playing outside
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna give it a
Um,
minute before.
so are you having a better routine now as far as workout is concerned than prior to?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I had somewhat of a regimen going on, but without the distractions of having to always be somewhere and be outside, that takes energy, and sometimes that might not allow me to come home after being out and being at meetings and having a face to face with people all the time
Yeah.
to get a good workout in. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, a lot of positive things have been coming from being home and
So how are
yeah.
you? How are you going to keep up with that once the world opens up again? Do you have a plan for that?
I actually do. I actually do. You know, I found a few apps that kind of send reminders. Hey, have you worked out today? You know, hey, you got 7 minutes for a little quick
Does
routine. You know
that
what I'm
work
saying?
for you?
It has,
Oh
because
my God, you're
you
so
know,
much more disciplined than I am.
no, I need help. So instead of having a personal trainer bugging me, I just use the apps and I kind of treat that as my
I'm going to
personal
ignore
trainer.
the app before I'll ignore the personal trainer.
Well, see, I was doing that before, and that was a part of the problem. But now that I have a lot of time to be home and pay attention to all the alerts and pings and all of those noises on my phone, I guess I get a workout in.
You're better than me, really. I have not, honestly. Before all of this, I went to the gym every other day.
Hmm.
I have my little routine. And the days that I didn't go to the gym, I had my little home routine.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything since we are on lockdown, since March 14th. I haven't done anything other than walking outside, taking long walks, and riding my bike.
Yeah, you gotta get on that. No excuse.
Well, the gym is opening up next Monday, so I'm good.
Okay, I'm gonna follow
And
up with
I'm
that and
like,
see.
honestly, I can't complain because I have maintained my weight and my health. Maybe
Well,
lost
good.
some muscle, but that'll come back instantly. So I guess I'm lucky.
Well, good.
Um, okay, I already said something in the little promo text about this. You're a veteran. Um, it, that means that you have dealt with certain types of stress. Do you feel like you were stressed at all about this pandemic, or were you already like, oh, I'm good, I've been through worse? Or
No, I was definitely experiencing anxiety, especially when I would start getting email after email of people postponing or canceling,
oh
photo
yeah,
shoots
that
specifically.
first 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, first 2 to 3 weeks was kind of definitely anxiety inducing, and I don't know, but it was interesting because I wasn't as freaked out as I thought I would be at the end of the day, because I just had a certain confidence that I knew I did other things outside of that,
Right.
that would allow for some income to be generated. And fortunately, I've built relationships over the years with clients who I've been working with them for 4 or 5 years, and
Right.
there's work that consistently needed to be done. And so I think, sure, I was definitely on edge a little bit, and doing the numbers. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I'll make these numbers this quarter,
Yeah.
and but also just kind of sticking it through. So I think attitude had a lot to do with it, in all
Yeah.
honesty. Like not giving up hope and realizing, number one, that I'm not the only one going through it. It's not
Exactly.
something that I did. It's the world situation, and everyone is kind of feeling it in some form of fashion. And
That helped
once,
me too. Yeah. Just the fact
yeah,
that you're not the only person and everybody's in the same boat, that's like, okay, well, if I lose my house, then I'm not the only one.
yeah,
I mean, that's
well,
not going to
yeah,
make it
and that's
better, but
extreme. God forbid, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's. But there are people doing well. You know what I'm saying? Like I go to the gas station, and gas is mad cheap, so I'm filling up
yeah,
my tank every
same.
other week now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm seeing somebody pulling up in a Porsche. Well, somebody's doing okay, so I want to be that person doing okay.
Right.
And that was kind of the mindset I took. I don't want to be out here mad. Now I had to also live in the experience, like live in my feelings when it came to the anxiety and the
Yeah.
possibilities of things kind of going really left business wise, because that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to pretend that I just was
You
going to
have to put
be
those
great.
scenarios
Absolutely,
into
absolutely.
mind.
But that puts things in perspective. But once I would see that there were people who were figuring it out and making a way, I kind of been doing that since I started my business. Trying to figure it out and make a
Yeah.
way and use sound judgment, but also be patient and let the process do its thing. And once I started really coming into that mindset, it allowed me to I don't want to say prosper, but just be able to maintain a certain level of business and
Right.
busyness that I think has been helping me and a lot of folks out here um, stay afloat business wise.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things that a lot of people were saying is, well, you know what? Why do we have to be productive? Just, we don't, I'm not allowed to not do anything when I come out this. And so I was looking at it like, yeah, well, you don't have to be productive at all. If you want to sit down and take time for yourself and heal yourself, or get mentally well, or find a new routine, or cut off situations in your life that you didn't want to deal with,
just overall evaluating your own life is also productive, but not necessarily directly related to work and income. And I thought that was a very valid point because everybody deals with this pandemic and this weird situation in the world differently, mentally and physically. Like for
Yeah.
me, like I said, I haven't done anything workout wise, but I honestly, I don't feel bad about it. Just because everybody and their mom is posting workout things from home, I don't feel any type of way about it because you know what? I'll go back to the gym when it opens up. That's when I can do my thing. So
Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
same with being productive and being creative. I've talked to some artists who said, I haven't worked on music because I'm working on myself. I was touring 6 days a week and I can't do it anymore. I should do something different. So now they're like healing their bodies
Yeah.
and making sure that they have their immune system on point before they start touring again on
Yeah.
a different type of schedule. And I thought that was very positive as well and very inspiring because we don't all have to do something and come out of it with 20 million ideas that have manifested. It's
Yeah.
not
No, I had to deal with
realistic.
that. I had to deal with that, and I think thank for one, I think this is a testament to how much the arts have helped the world get through this time.
Yeah,
Because what we do is valuable, even if we ourselves don't value it. Someone is seeing it and is helping them in some sort of way. But also, yeah, I agree. I had to kind of have that conversation with myself, and it could be a consistent battle with me. As like I'll wake up one day and be like, I don't feel like doing anything.
right,
I just don't. But then I'll go on Instagram or I'll go on, some social media and I see somebody do something like some of the most brilliant work because of the pandemic, right? And they're home and they have time and they're just so dope. And I'm sitting here
right,
like, damn. But then I feel this obligation to do something, even if I'm not necessarily feeling it. So I think the internet in general, because people have time on their hands, some people they strike while it's hot, and it might hit that moment where they put something out that's dope and brilliant, and it
right,
inspires other people. But I don't want to let that inspiration taint my vision of what I'm
right,
supposed to be doing. If I say I'm going to rest today because I'm tired, because I pulled a 24-hour work day for
yeah,
whatever reason, my body needs that rest, and I'm trying to get it more in tune to listening to that. So I would tell people don't succumb to the pressure of having to always create.
right,
Sometimes you
right,
just want to sit down and relax and read a book or doodle or go for a walk. Then do that. Don't allow yourself to be influenced and feel the pressure of having to create. Now, when it comes to running your business, sure, handle your business. And if you have to
right,
take a little bit of extra time to make sure that your money's good and that you're prosperous within the confines of what we have to deal with now as far as the world is concerned, then do that. But yeah, I struggle with that. I struggle with it.
and see now this is what I was aiming for with these conversations.
Mm.
The fact that we're not all doing okay, that we're not all just smooth sailing from the moment we were in lockdown,
Yeah.
that every creative person has to come to some sort of peace with how they are going to deal with it, whether they're going to be creative, whether they're going to do nothing, whether they're having new routines or habits or lose old habits. It's just, this is stuff that people relate to. And sometimes hearing it from other people in the industry confirms it or, puts it more to mind. I don't know how to say it, but sometimes when your best friend says something, you don't necessarily take it as serious as when a stranger says it to you.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you do for yourself to um, get at peace? If you feel your anxiety coming up, or what are some of the things that help you calm down or just take a break from the pressure of having to deal with this or your business, because you're still working as well?
Yeah. For me, it's about unplugging. I think I don't know the statistics on it, but I know that bandwidth, as far as the internet and internet providers, they're seeing record numbers as far as people accessing the internet, and that could be a good or bad thing. But for me, it's been unplugging. That's been a lot of my therapy when it comes to I'm feeling pressure. I just want to get away for a bit. But where am I going? I can't go too many places nowadays. But
Right.
our phones and our digital devices have been our escape for the most part. So I removed that aspect of of it from my life whenever I feel that pressure. I put the phone down. I put it on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
I might even turn the Wi-Fi off of my computer so it doesn't tempt me to just
Right.
suddenly, I'll be in, another part of the world and then I see some fly art and get mad because I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So I try to get rid of the stimuli that trigger me to feel like I'm not doing something enough or not doing enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but interestingly enough, there's some therapy in certain art forms that I do, dabble in because there's no pressure to perform.
Like,
I'm
what
not a
is one of the
professional.
things what is one of the things that you found out about yourself that you actually that helps you and makes you happy?
Yeah, I think for one, sound design and production and music has been a passion of mine for years, and it's suddenly starting to get louder outside. Let me know if it's too disturbing. Um, but yeah, I make music, but I just love doing it. There's no pressure to execute and perform, and that freedom as an artist of just being able to just make some fly shit without having to worry about a deadline or have to worry about someone waiting on it or it meeting a certain standard for that matter. And
Right.
so I made a goal for myself to get better at a certain thing, that happened to be production sound design. So on my free time, one of the most cathartic things for me now is doing that aspect of my art. And maybe one day I'll monetize it and make it
I
more
was gonna
part of the
ask.
business.
Yeah.
Well, I've low key been kind of doing that. I mean, I've been like licensing music to clients who need video work
Right.
of that nature, and that's cool. That wasn't my intent when I started doing it. It was more so, well,
Hey, if you
it's
can.
probably cheaper for me to just give it to you versus having to get an agreement from another company.
Right.
So, but also it also showed me the fact that it was a possibility business wise one day. But that reading a lot, but working out has definitely been a source of therapy for me, which I'm not mad at.
Yeah, I might send you a private message on some show me the beach bod. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah. Well, I ain't mad
so
at
I'm just reading this comment from General Vega.
it. Uh-huh.
Thank you for that. I appreciate you, first of all, tuning in. I don't take anything for granted. I don't care if I have one viewer or 5 million. It's the same information that I want to give out and the same motivation that I want to give out to people during this time. Um, one of the things that people have asked me is, are you going to continue these talks after, the world opens up again? And I was like, well, it started with what now, as in what now we're locked up. But I want to keep doing this because the constant motivation and inspiration is still needed at any time in the year or in the world. And so I figured out what now can be applied to anything. I've made success, what now? Or I hit a low point in life, what now? Or, just whatever you want to talk about. Is everybody has a journey, and journeys from people that keep going is inspiring to me.
Yeah,
Um,
I absolutely agree.
are
But
you going to incorporate the coronavirus impact into your work? I know you're also a photographer. Are there things that you're thinking about, like, hey, I've had these ideas to basically put how do you say this, to photograph this time in history, because in 20 years we'll look back at this like we've survived this, if we do. And
we will.
so what did I leave as a reminder to the time that I was there, or what did I do? Like, my thing is these lives. I'm saving
Mhm.
them all. This is my time during the pandemic.
Yeah, I know for me, in all honesty, I've struggled with conceptual art since I started because the way I structured my business was more so about service to a specific
Others, yeah.
client or demographic. However, this time has also allowed me to explore those possibilities more by
Yeah.
by making fine art, by saying something. Because uh, and I've spoken to peers about it and people who curate art, for example, and I've always felt like I wasn't an artist because, and I think a lot of photographers specifically might go through this, especially if they're shooting weddings for years or they're shooting commercial work where it's not necessarily your vision. It's more
Right.
so about helping a client develop their vision versus you coming out the gate as, say, a fine art photographer, where everything is coming from here. and you present it, and if people like it, cool. I couldn't afford to do that. I couldn't afford to gamble on whatever fine art photography I did out the gate 12 years ago was going to be able to feed me and my family. So
Right.
I was able to develop a niche and a skill set to provide a service and make it work. And if I could make it fly and make it, make it fine artsy, but it still services whatever their needs are as a client, then cool. So to answer your question, yeah, I've thought about that, but just the caveat is I've struggled with what that looks like.
Right.
How, is it just going to be people with masks? We see that all the time.
Yeah.
So how would I make it my own and still be able to tell a story or make it a certain narrative without, looking like everyone else? So
Right.
I think that's my challenge as an artist. Like, how do I make it myself?
Put your own little stamp on it.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I have seen works about this pandemic. Like my little cousin who lives in Berlin, he has a photo series. He's a photographer as well. He has a photo series about this pandemic, and it's actually great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very dead on. He's doing the portraits of people with different masks with the little stories, and it's in black and white. But I thought that was, if it keeps him creative and that's what he leaves behind out of this pandemic, it's art. And art is known to help people through the worst times in the world, in history.
Absolutely. I salute to your cousin, because that's something that I wish that I'd probably already done. But once again, not even just the lack of time, but also, like I said, I struggled with how I would be as a fine art photographer. So I can kind of see that happening as the years progress, where I wound up doing sliding more into that lane and kind of getting it out, versus just doing it with the sole purpose of making income.
Right. So this is the time that this is only 2.5 months in. So you still have time to figure it out, because we're still nowhere near the regular world. And I don't think we'll ever go back to the normal world.
You know what? Tell these people outside. Tell these people outside, because I'm like, what's going on?
Listen, I just had a conversation with my best friend who's in Florida that I'm done telling people. I'm done having discussions with people who will do what they want to do anyway. I ran into one of my neighbors on the street earlier, and she said the same thing. Like, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm just going to see my family. I'm looking at this lady like, well, I'm not even going to argue with her. What's the use? What's the use? It's a waste of my time. I mean, she's great and all, but I'm staying away from her since she's hugging everybody. So I'm not hugging her.
I've caught myself, being places, being out and about, and I go out and shake somebody's hand and be like, oh shit,
I haven't done that. Yeah.
But when it comes to crowds specifically, like if you're going to the grocery store at 2 a.m. because it's open 24 hours and there's only 2 people in there,
right?
Okay, I might, what I'm saying, that's okay. I might not wear a mask, but however, I see people at the beach. I see that's fly too. I need that. I see people at the beach. See, I got black. I got basic black, and then the standard medical blue.
I can just turn it around and have black. This is reversible. You can put a filter. You can put a filter in there yourself. Exchange it.
That's dope. But see, once again, now people, that's another industry that's grown. Artists are making their own masks and selling them. That's once again how brilliant artistry is. Yeah. And how we, always find that silver lining and make a bad situation better.
Yes.
By seeing opportunity. But I don't play. I'm not, like, if things are open, they could open up all day tomorrow, and I'm still going to be like, I'm good.
Well, I have to say, I've been to the beach. You may have seen the photos, but it was so empty. Well,
that's good.
One of my friends made a remark saying, put your mask back on. I'm like, I'm putting my mask on when I'm in confined spaces or around people that, I don't know. And that's just, I don't need to wear a mask on an empty beach.
Speaking of that, what's with the people driving with their mask on?
Well,
why are we driving with masks?
It may be a car that's not theirs. It may be, their family's car, or maybe there have been people in there. I don't know. Maybe they took the car to the garage, because I know in my car, nobody's in my car except the passengers that I'm taking with me. And it's been only one same friend that's been in my car. and not even every day. That's only been like twice.
Yeah,
So
and
I'm not wearing a mask in the car.
I'm calling myself out because I've done that, but I just forgot to take it off once I got in the car from leaving wherever I was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm at the grocery store, but now it's like because I hate wearing the mask. I don't like wearing the mask. I don't like.
How do you do that with the beard? I haven't
I'm
talked
sorry?
to somebody with a beard yet. How's the
Well,
mask
you know,
with the beard?
technically, and this kind of reminds me of my military days because that's why military people have to be clean shaven is to
Yeah.
wear the chemical protective mask. So I saw an article where it was the same concept with, you know, the every type of mask that we are wearing now, that it's less effective with facial hair.
Right.
And the bigger the beard, the less protection you have. But there's a lot of propaganda and stuff in the media that you just don't even know anymore as far as whether it's accurate or not. Because I questioned whether, you know, when I was in the military, whether the beard was that impactful on you in, you know, in a situation where you had to put a mask on.
And what did you conclude?
I never got to test the theory out, so I don't know. You know,
this may be the time, but it's not necessary anymore.
I have obviously been wearing a mask when I'm out and about, and clearly I have a lot of facial hair, and I have no idea if I've come into contact with someone with the virus, but I seem to be okay. But yeah, I mean, what are we supposed to do? Shave now? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like.
Well, the interesting thing is that you've had a beard.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but there's been a lot of people that I suddenly saw with beards. I'm like, hold on, because, you know, obviously nobody can get groomed or whatever, or whatever they do. I don't know what men do. Do they go to the salon, the barbershop, or so?
There's one person I let trim my beard, but that's very few and far between. Outside of that, I've just pretty much had to teach myself how to.
Right, that would be the most.
I'd rather do that than look like a hot mess, you know.
Well, see, this is why this thing that I have saved my hair during this pandemic, because I wasn't able to go to the salon.
What is that thing? What is it?
It's kind of like it's not really a curling iron, but it is. But it kind of gets the frizz out my hair because my hair is super frizzy and just I guess you can't say nappy because I don't have, you know, afro hair, but it's really frizzy, and so it takes the frizz out and it kind of smoothens it out, and it stays good for like a couple days, which is great because it saves on shampoo and conditioning. But I know a lot of women have all these other things like extensions or fake eyelashes or nails, and I don't have none of that. So I'm like, I'm cool. The only thing I have to do is my hair.
Yeah, and I get it though, and I sympathize, and I empathize. Well, obviously I'm a man, so it's easier for me to identify with a guy who misses his favorite barber and hasn't gotten a haircut in 3 months. That's crazy how, you know, I've seen guys who just are letting it wolf out. And I saw, what was it, Erykah Badu was giving shout outs to that. She was loving the brothers with the edges ain't right.
Right.
The beards are growing in kind of nappy or whatever.
The natural, the caveman look.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's whatever floats your boat. But me, I'm kind of the person who would not try to figure something out on my own. And I've been cutting hair for years anyway. So I know how to cut hair.
Well, that helps.
Bad clippers. Yeah, it does. It does. But it's still different when somebody else is doing it.
Of course, because they can see it better and you can relax. For me, the trip to the salon is a day of pampering myself. And I was able to, well, not really pampering, but last week I finally got my hair cut because it was really, really long and I had to cut it. That's about all I've done so far. And then I support my friends' businesses. I didn't really, I did need a pedicure. And my friend has a nail salon or a beauty salon. And so she opened up last week and I was like, she was closed for 2 months. Let me go and support her. Like, that's the stuff that I've been doing. Like, I guess I didn't really need a pedicure, but you know, let's get my
part of that self-care thing and supporting
that business too. And then I went to the beach,
right,
so I can't be out there with crazy toes. I see somebody asked the question. Let me see. Okay, so the first question is from Izzy, my friend. Do you want your art to be timeless, or is it strictly intended to serve the client?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, I set out the gate with doing timeless work. And for me, in order to do that, it was about studying masters, you know, studying photography from 50 years ago that is still used as a standard. So absolutely, I think that's a part of like my mission statement as an artist and when it comes to photography, to try to make work, or even design as a graphic designer as well, to make work that is still relevant. And that timeless element, yeah, I think I'm serious about that. So for me, when I look at, like, let's say Richard Avedon or somebody who helped, like, kind of pave the way for what fashion
Right.
photography looks like now, if you look at their work from 50 years ago, it could be published in a publication today and still be relevant. That's like my favorite kind of art anyway, you know.
Right.
So when it
You
comes
said
to,
the Gordon Parks and William Kleins.
well, yeah, exactly. Gordon Parks was actually who I was about to say as well, you know. And so to me, that's kind of absolutely, yeah.
And does that sometimes clash with the client's wishes?
Not really. I think for me,
Good.
when as a business, you want to kind of not be cookie cutter. So for
Right.
me, one of my goals was to be hired for how I do it, not necessarily for fitting a genre or a mold
Right.
the client is looking
And
for.
that's what people seek you out for, to work with. So
I hope so. I mean, that's pretty much what I've always wanted, because there are certain industries that you're literally, like, even if you work as I've worked as a graphic designer for companies, for example, where, yeah, especially if it's a large company or firm, yeah, they want you to be creative, but no, you're basically hired to use the software.
right, right.
Because you have a brand guideline that you already have to adhere to. So as long as you can read and follow the brand guidelines of that company and use the software proficiently, you're good. You're not being hired for your creativity until you become a creative director for that company. Now you're
Right.
able to dictate what happens.
That makes
So,
sense.
so as a photographer, yeah, there are certain skill sets that I try to adhere to when it comes to, like, a good quality, solid image. And if I want to manipulate it further, I have the leeway to do that because the foundation is strong. So
Yeah.
absolutely, you know, having a timeless aesthetic and being able to use that timelessness as a factor to allow clients to want to hire me is a big thing for me.
There was another question. It's super small. Fuller Easy. As an educator, part of my vision is for students seeing their dream, meaning not 9 to 5 jobs, but seeing their dreams, and then it cut off. So I don't know if Fuller Easy's still in here, but yeah.
Yeah, that's my homie too. That's
Okay,
my brother right there. Yeah.
So he
Happy
has a
Veterans Day, brother.
question.
I mean, Veterans Day, Memorial Day.
So if you can just ask your question, like, in a short way, or put the rest of it in there, because it cut off. So
Yeah, or shoot me a text, homie. You got my number. Shoot me a text.
or just put it in here in the comments, because it's not really going that fast anyway.
Yeah,
We'll see
no
it.
doubt.
Okay, so what is okay, so you as a creative person, what is something that would really be a great phone call to get during this pandemic? Like, it could be a person that you want to work with that calls you to work with you, or an assignment, or what would really make your day?
Wow. Honestly, what makes my day is when someone says, "Hey, I love what you're doing. Let's work. Let's go ahead and drop this deposit and lock in a date for later in the year." Like, real
Could be
talk.
anyone.
Yeah, I mean, as photographers, we know that we can be. I mean, I've already done like two shoots, well, three
Right.
now, where there was a certain level of discipline, used as far as how we interacted and all of that. But if you're a creative and you get a call that says, "Okay, I'm supporting you, and I know we can't do this now, but let me lock this in, because I'm gonna be here in 4 months and we're gonna do this work." In all honesty, and if anyone is in here that did that, salute to you and thank you so much for your support, because that lets us know that you're still here and that you still have faith in us as creatives to help us get your vision across. So
Right.
lately, I'm loving those calls. "Hey, bro, let's do this. Send me an invoice. I know we can't do it like tomorrow, but we're going to lock this in now because I know this is going to pass and I still rock with you."
Right.
Outside of that, well, it's hard to think of anything else at the moment, but sure, that type of support is what I love.
So I don't know how long I've known you, but I've always wanted to shoot with you at some point. So hopefully when this pandemic is over, we're able to see each other in person and out, because I love your work as well. So
No,
I'll
thank
do
you so
that
much.
phone
I
call.
appreciate it. Yeah, let's get this work popping. You know,
Yeah.
I
So
haven't,
what is the first thing you're going to do when the gates are open?
honestly, I want to have a drink with my friends, and
Yeah.
but safely do it and not have to worry about. And this, I think, that's a part of the problem because I don't think we'll ever not worry about this anymore.
Right. It's
I think
safe.
we're
Yeah.
all going to be a bit more aware and vigilant about space, personal space, and whose air we breathe in and things we're touching. Hopefully, I know I am, but I miss just hanging out with a large group of people. So that's
Right.
probably the first thing I'm going to make sure I try to do.
And hug
That,
people.
yeah, yeah, just solid hugs and just physical contact with folks, loved ones and family and all of that. Um, there's something else. Live music. I miss going to concerts and shows and seeing live shows.
Right.
That's
Well,
my
obviously, in my line of work, that's the first thing I'm going to do.
yeah, yeah.
Izzy is yelling a drink. We were actually today talking about going to do some whiskey tasting because one of my friends owns a whiskey bar out here, and I never have anybody to go with. And she may move from Rotterdam to Amsterdam. So I was like,
Okay.
yeah, when you're here, we're going to go whiskey drinking.
That sounds like some place I would want to go.
Yeah, well, I'm taking you when
Do
you
some
come
whiskey
out
tasting.
here. They have food too, so you don't have to worry about getting all wasted.
Yeah, you get your belly full, then you get
Right.
stuff.
My friend's actually from New York, so he set
Okay.
up this place here. And they don't have my brand of whiskey, so he's been giving me things that that I never knew of and that I can try. I think your friend is in here asking the question. Mr.
Okay.
Charles, how do I let your work be a vision with students I serve? Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I think I appreciate the question, bro. I think it's just about showing them the work, but also showing the journey. It took me 10 years, well, going on 12 years at this point, to be able to say that I'm sustainable as a business today. So some people it takes 5 years, some people it takes 2 years. My point is that if you have a vision for your life and what you want to do, stick with that. Don't lose it.
Yeah.
And be patient and ride it out. And I've had to ride out a lot of times as a business owner because it always ebbs and flows. But also I was figuring it out. I was trying to learn what I needed to do while actually doing what I needed to do, which can be a challenge, especially if you don't have mentorship. So for me, when it comes to the young folks and kids who want to follow a vision and stick with it, seeing people who are doing it, of course. So full of easy, if once the schools open up and there's an opportunity for me to come through and talk to the youngsters, man.
Oh, that's nice.
I'd love to do that for one. And I think he and I have talked about that before, possibly doing it. But mentorship is important.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, for example, and there were certain things like, for example, being an astronaut. I used to want to be an astronaut. I aspired to kind of sort of be a doctor, but I just didn't have the academic acumen to do that.
Right.
But my family they were in the medical field. My parents worked in a hospital, and my dad was a respiratory therapist. My mom was a registered nurse for years, and then she developed into administration and all of that. So all their friends were doctors, right?
Right.
And a lot of them, they were Black, right? So for me, seeing that let me know early that there are people who are doing that type of work.
Yeah.
That look like me. So for kids and young people, especially Black and brown youth, I think it's important that they see people who are doing the work that they want to do that look like them. And like no one told me that I could earn a living being an artist. So I went a more traditional route for the majority of my adult life. And once I grew up and grew out of corporate and grew out of the other life that I had and saw opportunity, but also took the wisdom I had while navigating the regular world, it made sense.
That's actually really good. It's really a good skill set to own rather than only having done one thing. Working both sides because your art is now also combined with the corporate world, doing all these, doing this work and projects for these clients. So it helps to know how to navigate both worlds. And I mean, I've done the same thing. I was in corporate world first, and now I'm on my own, so I call myself a creative as well, a creative supporting creatives. And so I know how to navigate both worlds as well, which I think is a really excellent skill set to have.
It is. It could be a challenge sometimes because you kind of have to I mean, always be yourself, of course, but
You have to
sometimes
adjust. You have to adjust.
it is a little bit of an adjustment. But I think when it comes to corporate, they don't want you to be corporate. In my experience, if they're hiring an artist, they want you for your artist shit.
Yeah, but they want
They
you to
can get
follow
some.
the rules that they have, though.
Well, I mean, and that's where, for example, like what we talked about with commercial work and fine art. And I think the past, say, 5 years, I've seen a wave of really not corporate-y work being shown in corporate spaces. I know fine artists who were commissioned for tens of thousands of dollars to paint abstract works just to hang in the lobby of their corporate space.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about those types of situations were that artist didn't have to be corporate about anything.
Right. They had to be
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And
Yeah.
actually, that art, that fly art shit is what kind of would help raise that company's stock to a certain
That's true.
extent, especially if they do an open house with the artist. Now you have this fly artist in
Yeah.
this stuffy corporate space, and now everybody wants to be with him or her, and they're drawing crowds. You know what I mean? So I'm seeing that we might not have to, as we move forward, have to switch up and code switch as
Yeah.
much as we used to have to in order to get the certain level of respect that we deserve as
Right.
artists in corporate spaces.
But it depends on obviously the company that.
Yeah,
that
and of
wants to
course,
work
like
with
when
you.
you're dealing
That's
with
always the
major
case.
brands, and that's what I've come across as well. Like when it came to major brands and larger companies who have tens of thousands of employees
Yeah.
and people around the world, sure, you have to like, okay, well, I can't get so fly with this project because they have parameters that I have to stay within, and that's cool.
Right.
Because usually those paychecks are a lot bigger anyway. I'll do that.
That's true. Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll
You
do
know
that.
what? I don't think anybody can be mad at that because everybody would do that.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
was one more question. Another one from Izzy. If you could do a crossover to another medium to create a hybrid work, which medium would that be? I was going to ask that question as well. So, good one. Because you do so much.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the next project that and I've kind of been working on this for like in my brain for 5 years and have been kind of doing testing. I want to do a visual art piece, like a short film, but use music as well. And I know I'm not reinventing the wheel with that, but it's just something I've always wanted to do. So I would say short filmmaking.
Is that a bucket list thing for you?
It is. It is. Well, I'm gonna direct a major film one day. I already know this. When I might be 60 when it happens, but
Speak it
if I
into
don't put it out
existence.
there.
It's happening.
Yeah, if I don't, I mean,
Yes.
I have to do that. You know what I mean? I just want to. But yeah, I think for me, doing an experimental short film, incorporating all of the skill sets I
All of the
might
stuff that you
have at
can
that
do,
point,
yeah.
that's kind of what I want to do.
I'm
And do a show.
definitely. It's going to be. You're going to put the pressure on yourself because it has to be excellent on all fronts. And I don't mean excellent for the world, but excellent for you on all fronts.
Yeah, and that's could be a good or bad thing. I know I've sat on work that I doubted.
But all artists do.
Yeah, and that could be a problem.
That's not.
Because now no
Yeah,
one
that's
sees
normal.
it because you don't think it's good enough. You know.
I'm sure you have a vault as well with all kinds of work.
Yeah, I got a vault.
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
A vault. Yeah.
So if from any genre, any art form, if you could choose to work with a person, who would it be?
As far as collaborative work when it comes to filmmaking, I want to work with Andrew DeSumner. Andrew DeSumner was one of my favorite cinematographers, filmmakers.
Okay.
And there's a movie called, say, Mother of George.
You didn't tell me about that one, did you? No.
I don't think I mentioned that. But
no.
Look, guys, look him up if you're peeping this. Well, Q-Tip. Yep, Q-Tip.
Oh, Q-Tip.
Oh man, there's so many that I would love to work with, but
so if that phone call would come,
yeah, hey,
that would make your day.
On the music tip, I mean, if anyone from any of the jazz artists that I admire, that I enjoy, whose music I've really been rocking with lately, you know, Black Focus out of London, so any one of those guys, Mansour Brown, Yusef Days. You know, those obscure cats who are kind of paving the way for what jazz is turning into now. They want to say, hey, man, can you just help us mix this record down? I fall out first.
Yeah.
And then do it.
First you're gonna have to try to get your composure back, and then
Yeah,
you
I
can
gotta
properly
drink
reply
some
to
water.
that with a
Yeah,
yes.
right. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. But
So
any of my local cats, because I work with so many artists, and they're all
yeah,
dope, and that's what's amazing about what
I
I've
love
been.
North Carolina because
North
that's how
Carolina's crazy.
I started. Basically started in North Carolina with my music journalism career. North
Okay.
Carolina and Detroit, they were
Mhm.
big influences on the start of my journalism career.
Yeah.
I've been to North Carolina 5 million times. I know pretty much everybody from the Justice League. I knew them at some point.
Mhm.
We're all grown up now. But yeah, I think there's a lot of talent out there.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, it's just the history of North Carolina music, you
Yeah.
know, how it's kind of continued to progress and grow. So any artist that I've ever worked with, that I've done any type of branding work or photography with, if I could collaborate with them on music, that would be a
Right.
wonderful experience as well.
You know, I have a cousin living in North Carolina.
Where at? What
She
part?
lives in Morganton. I've been there.
Morganton?
It's about an hour. It's about an hour west from Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that place, with Morganton.
Morganton.
Usually I'm going south if I'm going
It's
to
really small. It's really
Yeah.
small. So I'm looking at the time. We have like 4 minutes left. I didn't
That's
think
it?
the
Wow,
hour.
that was quick.
The hour flies by
Wow.
when you're having good conversations.
Yeah.
So is there one thing, like an inspirational quote or motto that you live by, or whatever that you want to give out to the people that are watching this?
I have a few. I
Oh
know
gosh,
for me,
I just asked for one. No, I'm kidding.
well, I got to pick the best one, the right one there. I think
One
wow.
that's specific for right now, maybe.
Yeah, I think especially with us, if you're watching this right now and you're on Instagram and you're on Facebook, yeah, things might not be as good as they were, but trust me, it ain't that bad, because you're doing a lot better than a lot of people around the world. And that's what actually helps me put things in perspective whenever
Yeah.
I complain about certain things, you know, and then I'll travel. You know, if I go overseas, like last time I was in Jamaica and I hang out and we're driving down the road and I see a kid on the side of the road.
Right. Right.
Asking for money. It's like,
right.
So
count your blessings.
when's the last time you saw a child asking for money in the States?
Well, I travel a lot. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it ain't do what you can do, because it's not that bad. It's not as bad as it could be, but exercise vigilance as well, you know, and keep building your craft. And I got a couple quotes I'm throwing in there, but mainly just keep building your craft. Whatever it is you're doing, you're supposed to be doing it.
Yeah.
Don't give up if you have a certain vision, because during times like these is when you'll be glad that you didn't quit.
Yeah.
You know,
that's true.
Or if you have an idea, follow through with it. And don't tell everybody your ideas either. Some people aren't ready for them, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's about five things.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I want to thank you for taking the time out to talk to me and share your thoughts and wisdom and whatnot. Ugh, I'm getting the countdown. I hate this countdown from Instagram. But thank you so much. And this will be up on my IGTV as well. So this will be on for people to watch afterwards, or, you know, if they have missed it, because I think there's a lot of gems that you dropped in here.
Cool.
So yeah, thanks again, and everybody.
Yeah, thank you for having
safe.
Me. And thanks for folks for coming out, hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and hopefully everybody's inspired and motivated and is able to, you know, do something that makes them happy at this point. That's all I'm encouraging people to do. That's my motto. Do stuff that makes you happy every day. Could be small stuff, could be big stuff. All right. Well, thanks. And I'll be back on Thursday with another guest. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.